An exclusive interview on the 700 Club. Suzanne and Benny Hinn tell us about the secret addiction that derailed their 30-year marriage.
Welcome to Global TV, where we dive deep into the most shocking stories that have gripped the world. Today, we unravel the mysterious and painful unraveling of Benny and Suzanne Hinn's marriage. Once the golden couple of televangelism, their sudden split left their millions of followers shocked and heartbroken. What really went wrong? Stick around as we take you through their story. Benny Hinn, one of the most famous televangelists in the world, was once the face of prosperity and divine healing, hosting grand crusades that attracted millions. By his side was Suzanne, his dedicated wife, helping him build an empire that spanned across nations. Together they seemed inseparable, an example of devotion and success, both spiritually and personally. But beneath the surface, the cracks in their seemingly perfect marriage had begun to show. While Benny's ministry flourished, Suzanne found herself growing more and more isolated. Benny's schedule was packed with crusades, live broadcasts, and outreach efforts, leaving little time for their relationship. Though they presented an image of the perfect couple, Suzanne couldn't ignore the emotional distance that had slowly crept into their marriage. The turning point came unexpectedly during one of Benny's healing crusades in 2018. Suzanne was at the event, as usual, supporting her husband. Benny was performing his usual healing rituals on stage, while Suzanne was overseeing the logistics behind the scenes. It was during one of these events that something unsettling happened that would change everything. As the crowd roared with excitement and Benny continued praying for the sick, Suzanne witnessed something that caused her heart to skip a beat. Benny was approached on stage by none other than Paula White, a fellow televangelist who was well known in the ministry world. What happened next left Suzanne in shock. Benny embraced Paula in a hug, but this was no ordinary hug. It was long, intimate, and left Suzanne feeling as if something wasn't quite right. This wasn't just a friendly gesture, it felt personal, far more than what was expected in a public ministry setting. From the sidelines, Suzanne watched in disbelief. She had always trusted Benny, but in that moment, a seed of doubt was planted in her mind. Was there more between Benny and Paula than what met the eye? Was this just an innocent show of affection? Or was there something deeper, something Suzanne had overlooked for years? The days that followed were filled with growing tension. When Suzanne confronted Benny about the incident, she was hoping for some clarity. Instead, Benny dismissed her concerns, claiming the hug was nothing more than an act of ministry, that there was nothing inappropriate about it. But Suzanne couldn't shake off the feeling of betrayal. The emotional bond between them was already stretched thin, and now with the trust broken, things were never the same. Benny, ever focused on his global ministry, remained defensive, refusing to acknowledge the cracks in their relationship. Suzanne, on the other hand, continued to feel increasingly isolated, her emotions being swept aside. The distance between them deepened as Benny threw himself further into his work, while Suzanne found herself questioning not only their relationship, but her role in Benny's life. Despite all of her efforts to hold things together, Suzanne ultimately made a heartbreaking decision. After months of emotional pain and feeling neglected, she filed for divorce. The news of their split hit like a bombshell. Their fans, who had once viewed them as the epitome of love, faith, and success, were left stunned. How could a couple that had built such a powerful ministry crumble so suddenly? The media was quick to latch onto the story, with rumors swirling about the cause of the divorce. Was it just the incident with Paula White, or had there been other issues at play? What really led to the collapse of one of televangelism's most iconic marriages? The truth, however, was more complex than any headline could capture. Benny and Suzanne's marriage had been under pressure for years. The constant demands of Benny's ministry had left little room for intimacy or understanding. Suzanne's growing sense of isolation and Benny's emotional neglect were only the surface-level issues. Behind closed doors, the stress of their public image, the strain of constantly living in the spotlight, and the emotional toll of maintaining a perfect facade for the world had all taken their toll. Once the divorce was finalized, both Benny and Suzanne went on separate paths. Benny continued his ministry, but his once unshakable public persona began to waver. His loyal followers were forced to confront the reality that the man they had admired for so long was not immune to the struggles that everyone faces. Meanwhile, Suzanne, who had been by his side for so long, stepped out of the public eye, choosing to focus on her own healing and rediscovery of herself. The pain of the divorce was undoubtedly hard, but it also gave her the chance to rebuild her life outside of Benny's shadow. As for their followers, the split was a bitter pill to swallow. How could a relationship built on faith and public love crumble so easily? Some continued to support both Benny and Suzanne, while others struggled to come to terms with the reality of what had transpired. Regardless of how people viewed the situation, one thing was clear: the Hinns were no longer the perfect couple they once appeared to be. What do you think was the real reason behind Benny and Suzanne Hinn's divorce? Was it just one moment of betrayal, or were there deeper issues at play? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this story captivating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true and gripping tales. Thanks for watching, and remember, even those who seem untouchable have their own battles. See you next time.